This is actually fairly wild. Trump's secret succession plan to put Charlie Kirk in the Oval Office and groom a shock new VP. I'm going to lay it down for you. It's very simple. The plan was 2028, J.D. Vance, presidential ticket, Vance Kirk. Charlie Kirk as the VP. And it was perfect. He was young. It's going to be a few years from now. He'd be old enough. And then 2 terms, Charlie Kirk would be the next presidential candidate, and he would be a relatively young, well-known, high-profile guy. His VP was going to be Don Jr., which makes a lot of sense. Now, I wonder with the assassination, was it just something so simple as he's a guy whose politics we don't like? Or was there perhaps we don't want this guy to win the presidency, some nefarious efforts? I lean towards the very simple crackpot leftists planned this, and they wanted to stop Charlie Kirk. But if I was going to be conspiratorial, I'd argue it's going to be machine state, deep state, whatever you might think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the shooting in and of itself demonstrated the gravity that Charlie Kirk had. I mean, he had an entire apparatus behind him that he had built from scratch. Mm-hmm. And whoever, the man that shot him, obviously was fully aware of that. He knew what he was doing. Michael Knowles made this point on his show, and it's something that not a lot of conservatives want to hear because it's like a sobering reality. But what he said is that assassinations work. That's why people do them. And taking Charlie Kirk off the board, after it wasn't this kumbaya moment, like, guys, we gotta take it back. Everyone was like, we're in trouble without Charlie Kirk. Like, there's no doubt about it. He occupied such a massive space on the right. And I mean, I'm glad the Daily Mail is at least reporting that there was a plan in place, but I think it was going to be obvious that either way he was going to be a presidential, certainly a candidate. I mean, he held unbelievable weight in the conservative movement. It would have just been inevitable, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people in the conservative movement. I don't think there's anyone in the conservative movement that had the influence that Charlie did. Mm-hmm. You know, his ability to reach out and talk to young people. I saw basically a sizzle reel of like all of the people that were just adoring Charlie the day that he was shot, right? Like it was the 3-month anniversary. Someone put together a sizzle reel, and there was nothing gruesome in it. It was about celebrating Charlie's life. And, you know, even that day, just, you know, there's like 3,000 people there. People were just stoked to see him. And I mean, he was treated like a rock star, you know? And when you have someone that is that influential and has that much goodwill towards him from a voting bloc, mm-hmm. I mean, it's unstoppable when it comes to, at least politically, you know, it's something that was remarkable, honestly. So it is obviously it's a massive loss, and it is good to hear, you know, the Daily Mail talking about this and putting this information out there. So
yeah, he's aptly dubbed the quarterback of the MAGA movement. Yeah. When your quarterback goes down, your offense grinds to a halt.
I mean, look what's happening at AmFest right now. Look at all the things that have happened in the wake of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I think
look at everything just imploding right now.
I think we're looking at there's been a political elite civil war going on since Trump got in. Mm-hmm. The Democrats, what did they called Trump the Pied Piper candidate? They hoped that if Trump won the Republican primary, he would lead the Republicans in a direction that would cost them the election. Mm. Trump won.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. And since then, they have been doing everything in their power to destroy the right populist movement.
Yeah.
This, with the taking out of Charlie, either through sheer convenience that some left wacko, left-line wacko did this, or somebody planned something. Because I don't think for a second it's a lone shooter theory.
That's funny, because like when I remember the day he got shot, and I was talking with my wife, and I said, if you want to watch this video, watch this video. If I suggest you don't. And she's like, why would they do this? What is it about him that makes him so important? I said, he's such a likable guy. And I said, most likely it's because he was making a presidential run at some point. Or, you know, he would have been, 35 in 2028? I mean, even if it's not president, maybe he's vice president. He's running on This is the first time I've ever heard my suspicions anyways, like, confirmed. But, like, yeah, I mean, he was very popular. He doesn't have to be a politician's politician. I mean, he could just be a well-liked guy. And, for his views and his convictions and standing up for all that stuff, especially you give him another 4 years.
I think
where's he then?
Well, yeah, where does he go afterwards? Right. I think, especially with the money they were raising, I think the Tyler Robinson story is the closest to reality. But who knows? However, this idea that he acted alone, I think, is silly, especially when there's reporting that there were vehicles gathering outside his home, and like there was a meeting, and people were going on social media and posting that they had foreknowledge of his assassination. Yeah. The most likely thing, it sounds like liberal activists, left-leaning progressive activists, plotted this And it wasn't just because Charlie was hateful; it's because he was effective. So, I'm conspiracy 100% on this one. I just think that the likely scenario would be Tyler Robinson working with other people of this political persuasion, not like, I don't know what
my question was
Mossad or
this,
whatever.
okay, let's just pure speculation here. Let's say they run Charlie Kirk. Who does the left run against Charlie Kirk in 2028? Who
AOC?
do they put up there? Like
AOC?
Yeah, AOC would go down just like Hillary went down because she's just not as likable as somebody as like Charlie Kirk. I understand why they would. They need rock stars.
I don't think a woman can win the presidency.
Gavin Newsom. They've already done a talk show together, Gavin and Charlie.
That's what I was thinking, Gavin Newsom. But Gavin Newsom versus Charlie, man, Gavin Newsom looks like a snake. He looks like a used car salesman next to
The
him.
only way a woman wins the presidency is if both parties nominate a woman. And that means, like, through inner politicking, they make this woman happen. The idea that a woman running against a man, I think it's almost always going to end up with the woman losing. And it's funny because when I say this, the progressives go, Tim's sexist. He says a woman can't win. It's your argument.
Yeah.
It's that there are many men who would never vote for a woman. I believe you are correct, liberals.
What if it was
leftists.
Tulsi Gabbard for the Republican Party, and then the Democrats just bypassed the primary and selected with superdelegates some despicable, weak man that people thought was useless?
Let's
you
play
don't
a
think
game.
Tulsi would
Let's
beat
play
that?
a game, bro. Hold on. We got to do. We're in Vegas.
Right.
Here's what we're gonna do, brother.
All right.
We're gonna walk on the strip up to some regular old people, some homies, and we're gonna ask them, "Would you vote for a woman president?" And you know what's gonna happen? Half the guys are gonna go, "Hell no."
Would you vote for 88-year-old fat, tired man too? And they'd be like, "No."
I mean, bro, what do you think?
Who would you vote
They're
for?
already there. They've already done so. I mean, like
There's tons of videos already where they're like in Times Square and they're like, "Would you ever vote for a woman president?" And these young guys are like, "Never." And they ask them like, "What if the candidate was like, the crippled old man?" And they're like, "Nah, women should be president." Even women go, "No, I wouldn't vote for a woman."
Yeah, there's lots of like attributes of a presidential candidate that negatively impact them potentially. I mean, it's difficult for men that are short to sort of win the presidency. It's difficult
to actually win.
It's difficult for single men to win the presidency. I mean, that was the biggest hit against Tim Scott in the primaries, was that he was single and then just swirled like homosexual allegations. It's like but there's there's a lot of physical attributes that come into play because you're selling them on a package. You're selling them on an aesthetic. You're selling them on a vibe.
Bro.
All of these things synthesize into a political
Trump
candidate.
shouldn't have won. Hillary Clinton was just very unlikable, politically evil, and there were a lot of people that don't want to vote for a woman.
Yeah, I mean, people downplay the actual effect that has when people see her next to Trump on a debate stage where he's towering above her, wide shoulders, he's like a total alpha, and then Hillary's this tiny little stumpy woman in a pantsuit. It's
Kamala Harris requested that her podium in the debate be smaller so that it looked proportionate to her body, like Trump on camera.
Wow.
Because
But that
most people were
backfired.
only seeing Kamala and then Trump and back and forth. And the camera zooms were made to make them look the same size on TV. But when you were there, she had a teeny little podium and he had a very big one.
So Tim Walz, Democratic nominee, versus Tulsi Gabbard. You think Tim Walz would win?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's tough.
I mean, Rollo's the
I would actually-
masculine.
I would
that's
speculate-
wheelhouse.
tough,
I'm
but
interested.
yeah, but
I
Tim
would
Walz is-
speculate that
Not Tim Walz wins.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I like Tulsi Gabbard as well, but I remember her performance in 2020, and she did some really good things, but it was not X Factor level 10. It was not up there.
And also in this hypothetical, like, you're dealing with someone that used to be a Democrat. There would be plenty of Republicans that would come out and say, no, she's actually a Democrat. Remember, she used to this and used to that, et cetera. And so they wouldn't trust her to be an actual conservative.
I'll give you this, Ian.
She's
I will
also
give you this.
also Krishna too.
A woman can beat a man if it is intentionally uniparty propping up a loser guy who
That's
can't
what I
win.
wonder,
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so like Tim Walz. So Tim Walz absolutely can lose to some women for sure. I guess so. I agree with you. And I stand corrected. I correct my position. What I'm saying is a legitimate race with a real primary. And real, I mean, with superdelegates and all that, where they actually are like, we want this female. Female's not going to beat a guy.
Yeah.
If the Democrats collude with the Republicans and say, we're going to pick a guy who's literally in a coma, and then you're going to pick a charismatic woman, then the woman's probably going to win.
Yeah, and Nikki Haley pulls really well against Democrat candidates purely because she's not really threatening to the sort of regime as it stands in any way. If you want to bring in like a truly formidable, paradigm-changing candidate, they're going to be a male because you're going to have to sell them on the additional factors. So that's why Trump had to be.
I was going to say, I wrote this essay that probably about a year after the Trump-Hillary in 2016, right? And I spelled it out this way is Hillary was so unlikable and was she's like the epitome of feminism. She's like the most foaming at the mouth. If you want to say like, what does a feminist look like? You're gonna go to Hillary Clinton, right? You're gonna look at her. She's like this kaiju of feminism, right? And there's only one other person, one male on planet Earth that is as big a kaiju it's like Godzilla versus Rodan or something. And you've got Hillary on one side, and then you've got Trump on the other side. Trump is the only one who is so over the top masculine that he could possibly be a contender against somebody who is so over the top feminist as she is. And so, like, if you think about it this way, though, everybody thought that Hillary was going to win, so much so that Newsweek had the covers already prepared for it. What was it? Remember that show, House of Cards?
Oh, yeah.
House of Cards changed the plot of House of Cards, expecting there to be a female president. In the Super Bowl ads of, I guess it would have been 2017 at that point, the Super Bowl ads had to all go back and rejigger all of their Super Bowl ads that they'd shot 6 months prior, because they shot them with the intention of, building up little girls to be the next female president, because they were so certain that Hillary was going to be the next or the first female president.
I thought she was going to win too.
Everybody thought that. He whips in there, and nobody wanted to vote.
Let me tell you about one of the greatest days of my life. I was sitting there watching the New York Times probability meter, greater than 99% Hillary Clinton. And then every 10 minutes, every few minutes, it's just moving. I remember when I got to 50-50, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just, I'm sorry, I put my feet up, I'm laughing. And then I remember when it ticked over to Trump winning. I didn't vote for Trump. I just absolutely loved watching Hillary Clinton get just destroyed in an election, because I can't stand these people. But I will say this, J.D. Vance, tall guy. Don Jr., tall guy. Charlie Kirk, he was like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was 6'5", right?
Yeah. Well, because it contributes to, like, it's tough to quantify aura, but aura genuinely does come into play. This is like why Howard Dean got smoked in the polls right after that scream, because he lost all his aura.
You also we're hiring a military commander, and you want a tall man that can see over the heads of the dudes in front of him. I mean, that's the genetic, real animalistic reason we want a tall man.
Deep voice as well. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.